All right, what's going on, everybody?
I got nothing. Can you hear me? No.
How about now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Great. So if you guys did or didn't hear me, I haven't been live in a while, and apparently that comes with some hiccups. Welcome back to the stage. So yeah, super pumped. You'll see some difference of being going live again here more often, but tonight just want to jump on with my good buddy Graham and talk about some goal setting, because I think everyone's in that like goal setting mode, like, oh, new year, new me, all that. And I don't personally subscribe to all that. I believe in goals all the time. But Graham, so I got my friend Graham DeNoyer from Alaska. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing freaking good. I think I'm like a little kid in school. Like I'm like, I haven't been live in a while. What do I do? Am I gonna look cool? Am I not? Like, oh, I gotta look good. Like it's of course I've had sound and video issues, so it's
Yeah,
like
it
the
was
first
funny.
day
We
of
were
school again.
talking about the Wi-Fi right before we jumped on, and then I couldn't hear you, and I wasn't in yet. Well, oh crap.
Yeah. So sounds like some people can hear and see us now. I can see in the comments, so that's good. But yeah, welcome anybody that's out there watching. So Graham, how do you goal set? Let's go right into it.
Yeah, how do I get about it? I take a strong look at like across everything. I think when we think about goal setting, we look at ourselves first. So that's like the personal aspect. Um, and then there's probably like professional goals, and then probably like family. Those are my three. Like I think of where I'm going to start. I start with those three categories, and it probably looks like some Venn diagram that ties together, and there's a center. But yeah, I start with those, and I start laying those out. So if I started with like my personal goals, I would think about things like growth and hobbies and even my health, and I would identify like things that are most important to me and all those topics. And then for me, I start laying those out on a timeline. And I honestly, I do that visually with sticky notes. And I create sort of a timeline map of how I want things to go together, because everything usually has dependencies and everything else.
That's fantastic. So when you're like, is there a certain time of year you do goals? Because a lot of people are like doing New Year, New Me goals. You just kind of plan your goals whenever you have them.
Yeah, I don't. I'm like you, man. I don't subscribe to it either. I'm all the time. I'm all the time planning. I take this whole visual thing because I'm a big visual planner, sticky notes and all, and I transfer that into an Excel spreadsheet. So all year long, I've got my 6-month plan, my 1-year plan, my 2-year plan, and my 5-year plan. And I'm like, I don't, maybe I have that planned out, and maybe I won't hit those in that order. But I look at it a lot like, going on a road trip. If you take a road trip across the country, you you don't just have this idea of places you want to stop and then you just start driving. You have an idea of places you want to stop, and then you start mapping them out and looking at where they go and how are they tied to one another, and should I stop here and learn that or see that before I go here? Because you don't want to drive 100 miles this way only to drive 150 miles back. And So I look at it like a good little road trip. You got to lay it all out, and maybe you don't hit them in that order, but at least you laid them out and you know where they sit and how to move them.
I like that. I really like that road trip analogy. I think that needs to go in some of your new videos that I see you making on some other platforms out there.
Yeah, man.
That's a great analogy. So I see some other folks join us online. Welcome tonight. We're just having a great conversation about goal setting. A lot of people are in that zone of like goal setting now. Graham and I personally don't wait till the end of the year to make new goals for the next year. I think kind of like anyone that's ever served in the military, like chat was continuous. You can always be eating. I think goals are continuous. You should always be setting them, changing them, modifying them to whatever you need to be. Maybe not. Don't like change them every week because you might not reach the ones you're trying to do. But yeah, roadmaps are great is a comment that we just got. So we just got a comment from our friend Chris Stringer. It's like your road trip example.
Yeah.
So making that roadmap.
Yeah.
So I even have a roadmap of our conversation. I got my sticky notes right in front of me around my screen.
Right on. Yep.
So did you hit your goals for 2021?
No, I didn't. Man. I had, like I said, I planned like my personal stuff. A lot of my personal stuff I hit. Some of my professional stuff I hit. I didn't hit all my family stuff. When I talk about planning family stuff, like I think about like experiences, financial goals that I've got set for us, that we've created together, or even goals like I want to hit with my kids about how, I'd like to see them raised so that they add value to society as they get older. Right. But like experiences is a big one, man. We had a trip. We wanted to do a vacation this year. We actually had 2 planned and neither one of them happened.
I don't think going on vacation in the last couple of years.
Yeah. We just bump them to next year, maybe.
Well, because I happen to know your wife and she might or might not be watching, make sure you make time to make that goal for that family trip.
Definitely.
So as you, there are a lot of people out there will do goals like in categories or sections. For me personally, I've done it before in like spiritual, physical, social, intellectual, trying to reach different parts because I think we're multimodal people.
Yeah.
Do you have like categories like just personal and professional, or do you break it down even more than that?
Yeah, no, I think inside each one of those, I break it down inside of each one of those. Like if we were talking professional, I was just doing this maybe a couple weeks ago with a new group of people. Because I do goal setting anytime I hire, anybody or get a new team together. I mean, we start right with goal setting because goal setting is all about, it's got to start at the individual level because individuals are part of teams and teams are part of organizations. So if you start at the individual level, that's where you're going to find the highest value to drive the conversation and to drive people's motivation. Because in a professional environment, you'll find that people don't care about your bottom dollar. They don't care about your bottom line, not near as much. Once you get down, once you really break it down, if you've got employees and you're doing this and you break it down to what really matters, what's most impactful, what is the highest valuable thing that you could be doing, and you work through that with the individuals, you're going to find every time their personal life wins. So if you can find a way to tie their personal life to your team's goals and align that, and then constantly talk about it and stay in tune as a group, you'll be way better off. So I think inside, going back to your original question, inside each one of those, I do look at, like professional, I would look at we talked about like recognition being one. You've got to have goals to be recognized. Everybody wants that. We value our hard work being recognized, and maybe that's promotion, right? I want to be promoted by this time. I'm only going to spend this much time at this company before I move on. And we've got to purposefully identify that stuff up front so that we can help each other along our journey. There's things like purpose. I think when we talk about purpose, people have to have a purpose. We want to know and see an accomplishment. I want to be able to hold it, a thing I built, a line of code that works, something. And then probably like mastery, I think. Yeah. So inside each one of those, like personal, professional, family, definitely I got little sub buckets. How about you?
I like that. I do. So I break mine kind of down to that. So I like learning. I spend a lot of my off time learning. So I have
Yeah.
to break it down to like learning for business and learning for fun.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me knows I spend way too much time of my free time podcasting. And so I have to start to break it down to like, what are my goals for professional podcasting? What are my goals for leisurely podcasting?
Yeah.
And I don't really break it down to like the exactitude, probably what I just made up of like physical, social, intellectual. I used to, and my wife and I, as a couple, we break down things that way, like things we want to achieve. But you actually said something that triggered something I want to say. And before I ask that question, I see some new folks have joined on. So welcome. If you're out there, let us know, because we actually don't know you're there. All I see is like a number ticker. I don't know who's there. Throw us in the comments where you're watching from, what you're up to. If you have any questions or comments about goals, how you do it, or a question for Graham or I, throw it out there. But Graham, you said kind of everyone loves that feeling of like achieving that goal and kind of reaching that milestone. So do you set like just short goals only so that you can reach something? Or do you set like ridiculous goals that just push you to another level of challenge?
Yeah, I set goals. I've got goals set far out. I've got 10-year goals out there. Hopefully I achieve them sooner. Maybe they're pretty audacious, but it forces me to like backwards plan, right? If I look at something far enough out, then I can start to go, okay, what, because they're all connected. So it doesn't matter if it's a personal goal 10 years away or a professional goal 10 years away. I can go, okay, personally, for this professional goal that's 10 years away, personally, what do I got to do? And that could be like having other kids, right? Finishing a degree, getting a promotion, meeting a certain, I talked about health earlier, meeting a certain like health goal. All of those are connected and feed into that. And then you break it down even further from there, and you go, okay, for that, for my degree, if I'm talking about, maybe I'm talking about my master's, and I want to, finish X class by then, and that class is directly tied to something I'm doing in real life. So I want to schedule that class around this event that's happening in my real life. I did that with my master's degree. I was taking my MBA. I was doing my MBA, and I was taking an accounting class, and I was like, well, I was doing this this whole managerial accounting thing with my at work. And so I was like, well, I'm going to take that class right then while I'm doing that project. And I'm just going to use my life experience to build my education. So everything's tied together. Yeah. Even 10 years out, 100%. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you really put some goals. You push yourself to like, I don't know if I can reach that or not, but I'm going to try anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's critical in the sense of, because you talked about like it does feel good to reach that goal, but like if you're, in my opinion, if you are like making goals like make breakfast, that's a good thing to like do in your routine. But I wouldn't set that as like goals, because then like you're not really pushing yourself to like change or be better. For example, one of my goals for a lot of the veteran work that I do is to impact 100 million veterans by 2030.
That's good. Yeah.
And if you understand the math behind that, there's only actually 18 million veterans total. But I include their families, their spouses, families they're connected to. And it's one hell of a goal. Like, I don't know if I can reach that, but I know that if I only reach 50 million, that's okay.
Yeah.
And I see there's a program, 75 Hard. Have you heard of that workout program?
No, I haven't heard of it.
I think is Andrew Frisilla. Is it Andy Frisilla that does that one? It's 75 Hard. And it's got all these specific steps you have to do each day. And if you miss one, you have to start all the way over. So you have to do it for 75 days in a row. But the philosophy behind it is that changing and reaching your goals is hard. It shouldn't be just easy, and it's okay to slip up. But also, if you have to start over 10 times because
Yeah.
you're doing this thing, you're still doing those things over and over and over, and you're still getting in better shape. You're getting your better mental strength. And that one, actually, I think it does hit a lot of the spiritual, mental, physical, because you have to read 10 pages a day. You have to go 2 workouts a day. You have to follow some kind of diet. You have to do,
Yeah.
you have to no alcohol. You have it adds all these different things. But even though it makes you start over, you're still improving yourself. So, and I want to share that as a reminder to folks. The 6.5 people are listening to us right now. Just because you don't reach this goal here doesn't mean you didn't improve. It doesn't mean you didn't get better. Does feel good to reach that mountaintop.
Yeah.
But if you're just hanging on the side of Everest instead of that top of Everest, maybe that's okay. That's better than me not ever going on Everest. So
Yeah.
and that was called 75 Hard by Andrew Frisella. That's what Lindy just threw in the comments there.
Right on.
So thanks.
Yeah. No, I like that because goals are. I posted a video this morning where I said, if you want transformation, you've got to you have to experience dissatisfaction. You have to see you have to have a vision of what the outcome looks like, what change looks like, and then you have to have a plan how to get there. And so that if that was multiplication in math and you did 1 times 1 times 1, you got all 3, you're solid. But if you've got any one of those, there's a 0. Well, that's 0. You're not going to experience transformation at all. So just starting with dissatisfaction, right? That really is enough. And if you look at the dissatisfaction of that and you say that's the outcome, you could reverse plan off of that using what's called activating events, thoughts, and outcomes. So if the outcome is your dissatisfaction, what was the thought? What did you think about when you experienced that, or right before you experienced that? And then what was the activating event that led you there? And if you can look at those and tie those all together, you could really start to establish a pretty solid plan. You talked about making breakfast. This is probably not a goal that you're need to be setting, but maybe that becomes a part of a bigger goal. You identify, I don't feel well in the mornings. I feel slow, so I want to feel better in the morning. That's my goal. So I'm going to make breakfast every morning for myself, because you identified that I don't feel good. Why? Because I feel like I'm always sluggish, and hungry in the mornings. So my new activating event is I'm going to make breakfast, and then I'm going to think, man, this is great. And I'm going to have a great start to my day, a new outcome. If that makes sense. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Or it's recorded, so we can go back
there you go.
and keep that. Cause it was perfectly tied into something I said. Didn't know I was going to say that. You didn't know you were going to say that. That's why I just love having conversations.
Yeah, man.
Cause I think we just build on each other's comments and thoughts, and you kept really tying back to something called Activate. And I haven't announced it too much, but people, if they're paying attention, I have a new podcast called Activate. This is the live version of that. I think this is technically episode 2, but I started 3 months ago and didn't tell anyone and didn't really publish it. So it might be episode 1. But because I think it's so important to that activate piece of you're talking where having those activating factors to reach those goals or to do those things. But a lot of people lose or don't reach their goals because they lose motivation. And there's a lot of focus on motivate. It's how do you stay motivated all the time? Well, I don't stay motivated all the time. But I have to stay disciplined to reach that goal, to reach the thing I wanted to do. And then also it's appropriate to take a moment and breathe and be maybe this isn't the right goal and I need to adjust this instead of just like, oh, this failed, this didn't work out, da da da. But it's really going to that activate piece that you really like, and that's what I'm really starting to hit on more. Is like, I don't want to motivate anybody. I want to help activate people. I think that's what you're trying to do, and some of the things you're doing around is really give people the tools and techniques and things. And that's why we're trying to talk about these goals. Isn't just like, oh, you goal set, cool, me too. All right, see you next year. Goodbye, everybody. No, it's like trying to answer and give techniques of how you goal. And I think you laid that out perfectly with the breakfast scenario. So you just activated, hopefully, or no, now we have 9.5 people watching. So, and I say half because one of them is Lindy. So technically she's like right here and online. So it's like, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that activate piece.
I like that too, man. Activate. I never thought about that way, because people are already motivated. People are already identifying that they're unhappy or dissatisfied with something. That's the whole point of saying a goal, to be better. So they're motivated to do it. But it's a lot of times like they don't know where to start. I don't know if we spent a lot of time. Now I'm thinking about it. Like, did we spend a lot of time in school? Like, I don't think I spent a lot of time in grade school learning how to set goals. Like
No,
deliberately,
it was like
having deliberate discussions about, hey, like setting goals. I don't know. Like, my kid came home today and said the other day from school and said they had a whole class about like, what car do they want to buy when they grow up? And they had to do a bunch of research and look it up, and like how much money that is going to cost, what the loan is going to look like. They had to break that down. And then they had to break that down further into their financial future, and to be able to afford that car, how much money were they going to have to sustain their family, their living, and this car. And of course they're kids, so they all like chose like a Ferrari and a Audi R8s, and like, yeah, we're doing this because the whole class of you guys is going to drive $200,000 to $500,000 cars. Let's do that.
Yeah. So I like that. Well, one, I think that's cool that they're doing that in school though, because I don't remember doing any of that. I think the goal, like for me, I really remember the goals I set in school. It was to pass school. It was, I was not that student to like plan in the future. I was like, how do I get to Friday? But I think it'd be really cool to have structured some kind of learning that way. It sounds like they're starting to in some of your kids' classes. But I like the goal or not the goal you set, your comparison to the cars. Like, you're not all going to have $500,000 cars, but just my wife made a goal when she was 10, I think, or she was young, and it was to own a Jeep Wrangler, and she just reached that goal 4 years ago, and that was her dream. That was so like she uses that story to like follow your dream. Doesn't matter. If you want that Audi R8, I mean, unless you invent something or go bananas right now, you're probably not getting it when you're 18. But go for it. Like go for whatever that is. Sometimes it may take you a little longer, but go for it anyway.
So, no, absolutely. Figure out how do you plan backwards from that and go, what life decisions do I need to make, and what goals that are smaller than that do I need to set, and in what order do I need to place them?
Yeah, I think if you're listening right there, that's exactly a technique. You can go bam, 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 knock that out to plan a future goal. And I want to talk about something else in goal setting, and it's manifesting. A lot of people have probably heard of this. You know some of the stories that we have together about manifesting, but I'm going to I'm going to share one that you're not involved with first. And it was back in like 2012, and I was in the middle of transition from the Marine Corps. For those of you who don't know, I'm in the Marine Corps. You're not obviously watching because there's Marine crap all behind me. A little too motivated, but it's what I have to work with right now. But it was in 2012. I was in transition, life transition. We didn't know what we were going to do. Things changed because they always do. Like, yes, we had our goals. One of our goals was 20-year military. Well, that didn't happen. Things change, and things caused some change that we couldn't control. as we're going through this, we're at this event in California, and mind my sniffles. I got sniffles like it's the holiday season. That's what we all have now. But as we're planning this out, we're making these vision boards. I think people have probably heard of vision boards before. They're kind of like a buzzword right now. They're super hot right now. But we're making these vision boards and like mapping out our goals and like breaking it down. Like, how do we get here? What exactly do we want? Like being very specific. Cause I think that's important too. Not just like, I want to have financial freedom. Well, what does that mean? Is financial freedom for you $100,000? For some people, it might be. Maybe it's $10 million, but being very specific. And so I was in a transition. I just interviewed for a job out in California. And so I was very specific, like, I want this job by this date, and I will be making this much amount. And I broke it down. And as we're doing this, it's crazy. There's probably 4,000 to 5,000 people. It's a really big event we were at, and no cell phone service. So I walk out, and the cell phone service is going to come in a moment. But so we're in this event. I was like, I need a break. I just kind of walk outside. As I'm going outside, I probably walk 5 feet outside the door. Again, no cell phone service inside. My phone rings, and it is the company that I had just written on my board saying, hey, we want you for this job. You've been selected. This is the amount. And it's the exact things that I had just manifested 10 minutes prior. Now, that's only happened exactly in that way once. Like oftentimes it comes in different ways. But I think the power of manifesting, and not just like, oh, I'm going to have a Ferrari. It's like, no, like break it down. And how are you going to get there? Like you said before, things we've done together, manifesting trips or work things that we've been on, a friend we both know, like kind of just made something happen.
Yeah.
So have you had experiences with manifesting and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think the most recent one was when we are all saying like, hey, we got to do something together. We got to all get together. We've got to do some work together. And we all just kept talking about it. We haven't been able to find the right opportunity. And then that opportunity came about, and we all were able to go meet up in Vegas and hold that event. And it was awesome. They're just talking about it. We're going to do it. We got to do it. I don't know how yet, but we're going to do it. It's going to happen.
And I love that part of I don't know how yet, because you don't have to know how. You just go for it.
Yeah.
Just get out and go for it. We got a couple comments here. I wonder if the class was called Managing Expectations. Oh, Chris always keeping me on the line. And Lindy said her 20-year dream come true. She'll take another 10 plus years to build the Jeep out. So we got the Jeep, but now we had to restart the Jeep fund to actually make the Jeep customized.
Yeah.
But she's making those goals, and I benefit because I happen to benefit from her goals. And hopefully help her reach those. Lucas says, hey, what's up, Lucas? Good to see you again, man. We need to get you on here as well. So as I kind of told that storygram, I talked about manifesting or vision boards. Is vision board something that you've done in the past or that you use, or is that something?
It's not something that I've deliberately done. I'm trying to think of, yeah, I don't think that I've done it, quite out, like, laying that out and drawing it out, but I definitely do it every day on sticky notes. I 100%, you can walk out in my living room and I've got just, for like 4 days straight, the whole living room was just covered in sticky notes because we were doing a lot of planning with my wife and I's businesses. And so we had just like plans all over the walls, just sticky yellows, pinks, oranges everywhere, moving them around so we could categorize them. But I think like that's probably my format of that vision board. And we leave them up and we structure them into like groups where we can find the plan from our mess of thoughts, because that's really all life is. It's just a mess of thoughts. And until you sort it out, you don't stand it. I don't think you stand a chance. It's like saying, well, you're in the Marine Corps, so you do land navigation and they throw a map at you and they throw a bunch of waypoints at you. Hey, you don't just like pick the top one from the top of the list and plot that one and go march off to it and then plot your next one once you get there. You'd be all over the place. You plot them all first, and you find out what's the best route to go. Yeah, and I think that's life. You got a mess of waypoints, and you got to figure out where they're all at and in what order you're going to hit them in. And I do that visually. I'm definitely a visual person. So vision board. Um, I don't think deliberately, but I think I've actually done plenty of them. I got all over in
I
front of
think
me.
I think if you really define vision board, you probably have lots of them.
Yeah.
I think like you see vision boards with like Ferraris or R8s or like pictures. And I know some people, my wife has a cabin on one of our walls, an A-frame cabin. She specifically cut out of a magazine or printed because she wants that one.
Yeah.
But I think the sticky note way is completely accurate. That's you're mapping it out, you're planning it out, you're manifesting it because you're writing it down. I think writing it down with your goals really helps. I know goals I've wanted to achieve that I haven't wrote down, I never achieved because I forgot them. But if I've got them in front of me, it's like, oh, whether it's an annoyance reminder or it's like, oh yeah, I want to reach that. Having that vision board, sticky note pile,
Yeah.
whatever it is in front of you, it doesn't have to be fancy.
Yeah.
We got here from. Go ahead.
Like that's my wife is looking to release a new product, and her thing right now is like finding bags. And so we've got a whole like, okay, what do we need to do to release this new thing? And that's our goal. Release this new thing. And so what do I need to do? And we broke that into 4 steps, and then she broke that down, each step down into smaller steps, and lined them all up. Went, okay, this is the things we got to do, because I can definitely design the logo before we find a bag, wholesaler, or I can do X before Y.
For sure. We got another comment here from Lucas, who says, I'm learning so much about manifesting goals lately. Maybe the stars are aligning. I can think of like 7 ways you mean by that sentence, but all I'm going to say is maybe we just need to have you on the show and talk about what you mean. But I'm glad things are going well for you. Hopefully they're going well, because I think you can also manifest negative things in your life too. And as you know, like if you stub your toe in the morning, you're probably going to have a bad day because you're just kind of focused on that negative. So I think there's ways to, and I know I'm going to get beat up in this probably in the comments or later in life, like manifesting positivity. I've heard people say like, oh, I'm sick of this like toxic positivity, and it's about, you can't be happy all the time. It's not about being happy all the time. It's just like choosing to be happy versus sad. Like right now, I got a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I can focus on the bad, and it'll make me angry and sad and depressed. But if I focus on the good, that I ate today, that I did have breakfast, that I am talking to my good friend tonight, having some fun, it's going to be all right.
Yeah. That is proven. There's like this direct connection between, I think, emotion and cognition. So how we respond and then how we think through. And our emotion feeds our cognition way more than our cognition feeds back to our emotion, right? So we think, the way we feel feeds the way we think much more than the way we think feeds the way we feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like what you're saying, like being positive, having happy emotions, more of it, thinking positive, just it makes you a better thinker, right? And then you can find better ways to be happier. So happier people make better choices. That's the bottom line.
That's true. There you go. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Lindy here said I'm excited for 2022 to get on the bus, sharing more about amazing things veterans are building. I'm pretty sure she's throwing me like things I should talk about as she points to me. I am super pumped. She said it. I'll say it. I'm pumped for one of the goals we have right now is the RV life, bus life, as we're getting on this Be Awesome bus, veteran bus. It's got many names, where we're working with vets around the country and put also our personal clients for our businesses, and that ability to have that freedom to go where we want when we want. And so that's a huge goal we have right now. That's on our wall. We were just recently building some stuff towards it, like breaking it down. What's the financial side to that? What's the oh, I have to actually pump my own human matter for that. What's all the different pieces that go into that
Yeah.
that you have to really break down. And if you are just jumping in, watch earlier in the show or in the episode, and you can hear Graham kind of explains on ways to break that down for that goal setting. So even we're going through that right now, and I know you are in your business and different things as well. The other thing here too from Jordan, he said, "Amen, well said." And I think Jordan, you were talking about, you came in when we were talking about the positivity, like you said, Graham, the happy people live better lives and do better things.
Yeah.
And anyone that takes that negative, like, oh, you're just full of crap or whatever, don't focus on the negative. Like, I'm not saying I'm not happy all the time. I talk to Graham a lot. Am I happy all the time?
Yeah.
No,
Nobody can be.
no. But I try to focus on the good. And Cochran here, Jordan, I actually served with him years ago. He knew me when I was not having much good going on. I had a lot of bad going on as the military medical stuff started to happen for me. And I actually remember it wasn't him. I had someone in the military saw me, and they said, "Hey, Denny, why are you smiling?" I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, you got all this stuff going on. You shouldn't be happy. You should be pissed off and sad. And like, you can't be happy if you got all this stuff going on. I was like, what? It's like, I was being told that like I could not be happy because I was in the hospital or because I had these medical stuff going on. Or I was like, that doesn't make sense at all. And Jordan says, reminds me of the last time we watched The Secret. It's that kind of thinking as well. No matter what out there you believe in The Secret or not, whatever. But I believe in, like Graham said, just positive people have positive situations and positive effect.
Yeah.
Even Lindy said that was a hard time of our life. It was. And thankfully, I ignored the person that told me I couldn't be happy. Otherwise, I might not be here today. Who knows? So, anything else you want to talk about tonight? Life goals as we go into this new year, new me.
New year, new me.
Don't go to the gym because we all know it's going to be slammed. Any of you people that go to the gym every day, it's about to get really busy.
I think that it's where I started at the beginning of this, where I said like goal setting starts at the individual level, and then it goes to the team and the organization. So if you're part of something, like set your own goals and then find out where the individuals on your team, where their goals lie, so that maybe you can restructure yours to help them also meet theirs. I think that's a big thing, helping the people around us, not just in their professional journey or their personal journey, but also in their family, their health, and all that.
I really
community.
Like that. It is community. Like you said earlier, you can push people at work all day long, but if their home life is suffering, if they're not going to really work for you anyway, they're not going to do much, and you'll pay for it. They'll pay for it. It ain't good.
Yeah.
So I really like that. Well, Graham, if people want to reach out to you, whether it's to learn your sweet goal setting skills or just to connect with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best. LinkedIn, you can find me. Where else? Honestly, you guys, anybody can just call me. I know I'm opening myself up to a bunch of spam calls right now, but 937-543-2821. You can call me. I'd love to talk goal setting with you. Or check out my company over at collaborally.com.
So I'm going to push people to Collaborally. Spell it out for us.
Yeah. COLLABR. COLLABR. You messed me up. CALL. Dude, I cannot think right now.
Is that right on the screen? Is the screen correct?
Yeah, the screen's correct.
All right, there you go. So you can head over to his website. You can find him on LinkedIn at Graham DeNoyer. If you're watching this live, you'll be able to, when it's over, you can kind of rewind and grab his phone number that he gave you there. But And you'll see Graham on here again. We talk daily, so we'll probably have other conversations live because might as well. And Graham's going live. You're going live these days.
Yeah, man. If I can remember how to spell my company's name, sure will.
Why did you want to start going live?
Because I thought I had a message to put out right now. I think that's important for people to hear what others have to say immediately, like unscripted. Like, let's just go. You know, a lot of people are doing a lot of cool things, not just up here in Alaska, but all around.
I like that. That's fantastic. Yeah. So if you want to go and hear what Graham has to say or other people he has on his live shows, hopefully maybe it's me one day. We'll see if I pass the cut. One last shout out. Trey, what's up, my friend? Trey Ryder, good guy. Veteran out there doing great things on his right. Also goes live like you do. So to reach other people. So have a great night, everybody. Thanks for rolling through. It's been a couple months since I've been live myself. So having some of those hiccups and fighting a cold, but Graham, appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Everyone else have a good night and jump in the comments. We'll respond. See ya.